we're here today with Larry Jacobson, and it's a pleasure to introduce him to Business Authority. I'm going to we're going to make this a really fast interview so everyone can get to meet Larry quickly. He's a Business Authority Pro Advisor, and he's a business coach for people 50 plus with a lot of great experience. But I'll let Larry talk a little for himself. Larry, would you do me a favor and describe for our listeners your business and its focus?
Sure. Hello. Great to be here. My company is called Buoy Coaching, and the buoy is B-U-O-Y, like the buoys at sea, because when you follow the buoys properly, you come to safe waters. And I coach retirees, those who have just retired or getting close to retiring, or even a decade before retiring. What are you going to do after your work career is finished? Your work career that you've been in all your life. And a lot of these people are saying, well, I want to become an entrepreneur. Maybe they worked in a company where they were middle management or upper management or something, and now they want to run their own show. And so I coach, that's part of the retirement coaching. And I also am a certified world-class speaking coach. And I coach people on improving their public speaking skills. And for 50 plus, that's important because they're often making a pitch to get financing or to get attract other people from other companies to join them. And the two work pretty well side by side.
Great. So why did you start coaching entrepreneurs? How did you start and why?
Yeah. Well, after my 6-year sailing trip around the world, I mean, I spent 20 years in the corporate world, ended up as a CEO. And then after the 20 years was done, I sold my company and bought a boat and spent the next 6 years sailing around the world. When I got back, I wrote my book, The Boy Behind the Gate, and that was great. And then I went on the speaking circuit, and that was great. And I talked about living with passion and achievement and accomplishing big goals. And then one day I got a call from a friend of mine who was a CEO, and he asked if I could come in and give him some advice. And I said, sure. So I go into his office, and he said, I said, well, what do you need advice on? People or, personnel problems or motivation or finance, what? And he goes, no, I don't need any of that. I'm the CEO. I know how to run the company. And he said, I want to know how you got out, how you did it. What did you do to get out of being from CEO to sailing bum? And so I hadn't really thought about that at that point. And so I gave him a few answers. And then about a week later, I got a call from a friend of his who was a CEO. And he asked me, I went into his office and he asked me the same questions. So I thought, I might be onto something here. So I started coaching people who are retiring from their work careers into what they're going to do next. And I took a year off and I created the Sail into Retirement video program. And now I have my new book, Your Ideal Retirement Workbook, which is patterned after the video program. And I'm loving it. I'm getting more and more people who are retiring who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to do something else, because people who are busy in their work careers, it's difficult just to stop. You don't go from CEO to tending roses just like that.
That's awfully true. So you're essentially become an entrepreneur in coaching as well. Maybe if you could reflect for a second and tell us one major obstacle that you had to overcome as an entrepreneur in later life and post-50 life, and how you did it.
Yeah. I would say the biggest obstacle off the top of my head was figuring out what I was going to do. When I got back from sailing, I felt like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, big time, for a few years. And that was in my transition process. Transitions are 3 stages. That's what William Bridges says. And that is the first stage, which is the end. So something ends. Then there's the middle stage where you're looking around and finding what it is that you want to do. And then there's the final stage, which is when Julie Andrews comes running up over the hills singing the hills are alive, and you found it. Everything is great, and you know what you're going to do next. But that middle period is can be a tough period, and that's what I help people through through that middle period. And I know it well because I spent several years in it, and then I created the program to help get people through that, because none of those stages should be a parking lot. You've got to keep moving through the stages until you find what it is you want to do next.
Was there one thing that you found helpful in moving through those stages?
It was an outside force. So sometimes it can be an inside, but this was an outside force, and this was these CEOs asking me for my advice, and me realizing that I really had something to offer here. And so that was the outside force. And sometimes it can come from the inside. You might get inspiration that you want to go do this or that. And I've coached people who wanted to open a corner coffee shop, and I've coached people who want to start big companies.
So what are the key advantages for entrepreneurs over 50 starting a business? What makes the entry into business low cost today, but potential high profit, if there's such a thing?
Well, one thing is that people who are 50 plus tend to have a little more money in the bank, and often do not need outside financing. So if you're going to open the corner coffee shop, you can go lease the corner site, and you can do it on your own without giving away any of your company. And I think that's a big plus, because I'm not a fan of necessarily giving away part of your company, especially if it's a small company or you're an entrepreneur. And the other thing that people 50 plus have, and they don't always recognize this, is they have wisdom. If they worked in the business world before, they have earned a lot of wisdom. That's more than just knowledge. You know, the difference between knowledge and wisdom is that knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. So it is, that's something that people 50 plus have, and they bring to the party. And companies that are letting people go who are 50 plus or 60 plus are making a big mistake, because they're letting the wisdom go, and it's called the wisdom walkout. And they're then finding, gee, now we don't have anybody who has any experience. What do we do now?
So when someone comes to you and they're looking to be coached as they start a business, or if they have a business and they want to accelerate it, move it to the next level, they've got to make some investment. They're plus 50. You want to be sure to help them protect their future, because they're not going to get that much opportunity if they lose their capital, to regain it. So what are some caveats, some ways in which you help them make the step, but make it with the kind of wise caution that you would hope for your own relative?
Yeah, right. One thing is a lot of people are not too familiar with numbers, with the balance sheet of books. I never was, until I became the CEO. And then I realized that, wait a minute, I think more money should be coming in than is going out. And that's just something that a lot of people they just don't pay attention to it, because let's say somebody's opening the corner coffee shop, and that's their passion. That's the purpose, is to interact with the public, and to serve good coffee, and to make a nice place for people to come to. And they're not necessarily thinking about the numbers. So I caution people to work more with their numbers. I also ask people what the real purpose of why they're doing this, and to keep that mission close to their heart, that they know why they're doing it. And so when they're working 7 days a week, in their new Subway sandwich shop, they know why they're there.
Do you think that they're often not clear on why they're doing it, or is that an area that you have to work on a little, and why?
In a way, yes, because I think that because it's so difficult to stop working, that people, they don't realize how difficult it is just to, you're working hard and then you retire and you stop and you're like, wait a minute, I've had a client who was an attorney, and he would call the office every day and say, do you need me for anything? And they go, no, we don't need you anymore, you're retired. And his name was on the door, his name was on the letterhead, and so he felt pretty, that much, he felt like he needed to do something, had to, keep going and do something. And so he was wanting to start a business, and he really didn't want to, but he felt that he needed to go to be in like private practice. And it took some sessions for us to talk about the idea of, do you really want to do that, or do you want to maybe help out other people or help people who need your legal services, more than starting your own real company?
Right. So when you're not working as a coach and consultant and helping people, what do you, Larry, like to do to enjoy your life? What's meaningful to you outside of work, and why?
Tough question, because to me, it's not work. When I'm coaching people, I go into this zone where or I just know I'm helping these people by asking the right questions. And so it's not really work, but I love that. I also love writing, and my new book just came out, Your Ideal Retirement Workbook. And so I love writing. I love the projects of getting it published and all of that. And also, well, sailing, I guess, but I think I've had enough sailing for a little while now. And I have other interests are, well, my friends and family, or my friends who are my family. That's the most valuable asset I have in my life, and keeping up with them and contacting people and making sure my friends are okay. And that's something that's important to me. And reading would be a total luxury for me. So if I get a chance to go and read for an hour, I feel almost like I'm cheating, like I'm not accomplishing something. And this is because one of the things that I've realized about myself is that my contentment doesn't come from sitting on the beach or something. It comes from achievement. So I'm always looking to achieve something, whether that's having, like, this interview. This is an achievement. This is getting something done. And working with somebody, that's achievement. Writing another book, that's achievement. Writing an article, just finished an article yesterday on the benefits of using a speaking coach. I felt really good after that. So that feeling that I get of contentment comes when I achieve something. That's a hard thing to live with, because to slow myself down and not work, so to speak, is a challenge for me.
Well, great. So to wrap it up, um, what's one takeaway you would hope to give entrepreneurs 50 plus who happen to be listening in today?
I would say make a plan. Make a plan, write it down. I don't care if it's on the back of a napkin or a formal plan or whatever, but make a plan and start with why. Why you want to do this, then what you're going to do, then how you're going to fund it, then how it's going to operate. And when you have that basic outline, just a one-page outline of what you're going to do, it will guide you, and stick with that.
Well, great. Well, I really appreciate you taking this quick bit of time, Larry, to introduce yourself. We're grateful that you're a partner in Business Authority. And, for those who don't know you, we look forward to introducing Larry as a great consultant, coach. His books, you can go to Business Authority and find his books in our a library of books, but you can also go to Amazon and find them. The Boy Behind the Gate is a story of his travel around the world. He's got several books on coaching, and so please take a look at those. But we look forward to introducing you to Larry if the fit is right. And thank you again, Larry. It's been great being with you.
Thank you, Bruce. Look forward to more.